Have you ever wondered who really owns the internet? For years, the answer has been pretty simple. A handful of tech giants, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they're the landlords of our digital world. Their cloud services, like AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure, host almost everything you do online, from streaming your favorite show to storing your family photos. This centralized model has worked, but it's also given these companies immense power and control over our data, our privacy, and our digital lives. But what if that's all about to change? What if there's a new kind of internet being built right under our noses? One that takes the power away from these giants and puts it back into our hands. This is the promise of the decentralized cloud, and believe me, big tech is starting to get very nervous. Today, we're diving deep into why this revolutionary technology is causing sleepless nights in Silicon Valley and how it is set to redefine the future of the internet. So, what exactly is this decentralized cloud we're talking about? To understand it, let's first quickly recap how the current cloud works. When you upload a file to a service like Google Drive or Dropbox, you're sending it to a massive, centralized data center owned and operated by that company. All your data sits on their servers. They control access, they set the prices, and they're a single, giant target for hackers. If their servers go down, so does your access. The decentralized cloud flips this entire model on its head. Instead of one company owning a giant server farm, a decentralized network is made up of thousands or even millions of individual computers all over the world. These could be anything from dedicated servers run by small businesses to everyday people renting out their unused computer storage and processing power. When you upload a file to a decentralized cloud service, it's not stored in one place. Instead, it's encrypted, broken into tiny pieces, and scattered across multiple computers on the network. Think of it like a digital jigsaw puzzle, where the pieces are stored in hundreds of different safe deposit boxes around the globe. No single person or entity has the whole picture. This structure is made possible by blockchain technology, the same innovation behind cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. The blockchain acts as a secure, transparent ledger that keeps track of where all these tiny pieces of data are stored and who has permission to access them. This creates a system that is incredibly secure. For a hacker to steal your data, they'd have to find and compromise dozens or even hundreds of different computers simultaneously, which is practically impossible. This is a massive leap forward from the current model, where a single breach at a major data center can expose the information of millions of users. Now, let's talk about why big tech is so concerned. It really boils down to three key areas: control, cost, and competition. First, control. The entire business model of giants like Amazon and Google is built on controlling the infrastructure of the internet. Amazon Web Services, or AWS, is a cash cow for Amazon, generating a huge portion of its overall profit. They dictate the terms, they set the prices, and they have the final say over the data stored on their platforms. Decentralization completely undermines this control. In a decentralized world, there's no single CEO to call the shots. The network is governed by its users and participants, often through democratic, code-based rules. This shift from a corporate dictatorship to a digital democracy is a fundamental threat to their power. They can no longer unilaterally change policies, censor content they don't like, or lock users into their ecosystem. The power moves from the boardroom to the community. Second, let's look at the cost. Running massive, climate-controlled data centers is incredibly expensive. You need land buildings, round-the-clock security, and an astronomical amount of electricity for power and cooling. These costs are, of course, passed on to the customers. Decentralized cloud services operate on a completely different economic model. They leverage existing, underutilized resources. Think about all the empty hard drive space and idle processing power on millions of computers around the world. It's a massive, untapped resource. By creating a marketplace where people can rent out their spare capacity, decentralized platforms can offer storage and computing services at a fraction of the cost of traditional cloud providers. There's no middleman taking a huge cut. It's a peer-to-peer market, which naturally drives prices down. For businesses and developers who spend thousands or millions on cloud services every year, the potential savings are again. This puts immense pressure on the pricing models of AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. And third, and perhaps most importantly, is competition. For the longest time, the cloud computing market has been an oligopoly. The barrier to entry is enormous. You can't just decide to build a global network of data centers to compete with Amazon. It takes tens of billions of dollars and years of work. Decentralization smashes that barrier. Projects like Filecoin, CAL, and the Interplanetary File System, or IPFS, are not building their own physical infrastructure. They are building the software protocols that allow anyone to participate. This opens the door for a tidal wave of new competition. Instead of 3 or 4 major players, you could have hundreds of smaller, specialized providers competing on price, performance, and features. This is the classic disruption scenario. A new technology emerges that makes the old way of doing things obsolete. And the incumbent giants are too slow or too invested in the old model to adapt. Let's explore some of the real-world implications of this shift. Consider data sovereignty and privacy. In the current system, your data is often stored in a country with different privacy laws than your own. Governments can subpoena tech companies for your information, and you might never even know. With a decentralized network, your encrypted data is spread globally, making it much harder for any single government or entity to access it. You hold the cryptographic keys, which means you, and only you, control who can see your data. This is the foundation of what many people call Web3 anew, more private and user-centric. It's an internet where you own your digital identity and your data, not a corporation. Another powerful aspect is censorship resistance. We've seen instances where platforms remove content or deplatform users based on corporate or political pressure. Because a decentralized network has no central point of control, it's incredibly resilient to censorship. To take down a website or a file hosted on a decentralized network, you'd have to shut down every single node hosting a piece of it. This makes it an ideal platform for journalists, activists, and anyone who needs to share information freely without fear of being silenced. It ensures that the internet remains a true platform for free expression as it was originally intended to be. This is a direct challenge to the walled gardens that big tech has built, where they act as the ultimate arbiters of what can and cannot be said. So, what are the big players doing about this? They're not just sitting back and watching, they're trying to adapt, but it's a tricky balancing act. On one hand, they are exploring blockchain technology themselves. Microsoft has its Azure blockchain service, and Amazon has its Amazon managed blockchain. However, these are often permissioned or private blockchains. They offer some of the efficiency of the technology, but keep it within their own controlled, centralized ecosystem. It's like saying you believe in democracy, but only if you get to be the permanent president. They were trying to co-opt the language and some of the tech of decentralization without actually giving up any power. It's a strategy of embrace, extend, and extinguish. They want to offer blockchain as a service to keep customers locked into their cloud platforms, preventing them from moving to truly decentralized alternatives. But will it work? Many experts are skeptical. The core value proposition of decentralization is trustlessness, the ability to interact without having to trust a central intermediary. A private blockchain run by a single corporation fundamentally misses this point. It's a centralized system wearing a decentralized disguise. Meanwhile, the true decentralized ecosystem is growing at an exponential rate. Developers are building new applications, storage costs are plummeting, and user adoption is climbing. The network effect is starting to take hold. As more people join these networks, they become more robust, more secure, and cheaper to use, creating a virtuous cycle that attracts even more users. This is the grassroots movement that big tech has always feared. The transition won't happen overnight. Centralized cloud services are deeply embedded in our digital infrastructure, and they still offer incredible performance and ease of use that decentralized systems are still working to match. There are challenges to overcome, like user experience and scalability. Using decentralized apps can sometimes be more complex than their polished, corporate-backed counterparts. But the momentum is undeniable. We are witnessing the birth of a new digital infrastructure, one that is more open, fair, and resilient. The decentralized cloud isn't just a technical upgrade. It's a philosophical one. It's a move away from a digital world owned by a few towards a digital world owned by everyone. The nervousness in big tech boardrooms is a clear sign that this shift is real and that the future of the internet is up for grabs. Thanks for watching. If you found this exploration of the decentralized cloud fascinating, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the future of technology. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is the decentralized cloud the future? Or will big tech manage to hold on to its throne? I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you in the next video.